Alright. A little crooked. Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday, as it were. Alright. Good morning, good morning. Alright, perfect. Zoom a little tighter. Alright, let's see if I can avoid getting yelled at by the internet gods today. One of the sets I have here does have underwear on, but I want to also kind of focus on particular kinds of forms and shapes, like squares and cubes, for example, today. So blocks. So let's get some blocks on here just as a reference point. Alright, so let's get the figure in here. One leg going this way, and another one going that way. Try to make it a little bit more dynamic. There's some elongation. Good morning, everybody. Pop it in. Good morning, everybody. Alright, let's focus on blockifying everything, squaring things off. Sharp angles. Everything sharp and angular. And see what we get out of that. Good morning, everybody. Pop it in. A little figure warm-ups from these reference packs. Some of them were free that I picked up, other ones I bought, but you know. I got yelled at by D-Live yesterday, so I thought I'd try get into these ones that where they're wearing something, like Speedos and other things. I just think it's kind of goofy, but you know, that's the state of internet things, right? And then work on things like blockifying what's going on here, just to play up some style elements. Blockify. That longer. Good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning. Yes, let's make that longer. Alright, let's see, arm up here. Angulars. Angular, squaring off everything. Good morning, people popping in. Good morning. Good morning. Alright, we got everything blocked off. Nice sharp shapes. Let me try our long shape-based stylus here. This over. Ah. Nice blocky shapes and lines. Yeah, one of the goals with this is kind of play up dynamics, in addition to anatomical issues. Good morning, people popping in. Uh-huh. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. I appreciate that. It's very generous. Hola, Argentina. How is life there with your chainsaw president? Yeah, I'm curious to see. So it's definitely a different approach. So um, I'm curious. Oh yeah, we'll see, right? Um, I try to do is kind of do this in a blocky fashion. So I sketch some squares over here, and then trying to keep everything super blocky. Well, I guess we'll find out as well here too. I know there's a lot of uh, people saying a lot of different things about what will happen, but you know, we'll see. I guess ultimately. Um, 'Cause I know a lot of artists think a particular way, and I tend to have a more a different opinion about a lot of things. So, but we'll see. So Socrates is excited because he wants cheap oil in Greece. He wants to MGGA. I wouldn't mind cheaper gas, but we'll see. My thing with politics is the things that I think people really should criticize Trump about, especially from his last presidency, um, they wouldn't, because if they had to criticize those things, they'd have to criticize themselves. Um, so that's kind of what I generally see is the things that I think he was worst on aren't unique to him, and so yeah. So we'll find out ultimately what will happen, but. This is Speedball Super Black. Or any subject is fine. So it's like I teach at a university, and so I'm used to hearing about all kinds of everybody's opinions about everything. The major thing I'm dealing with is fighting off implementation of AI into art program we have. I have a lot of professors who, well, there's 4 specific ones especially. Some others are kind of in between, but who are really pushing it. Yeah, Speedball Super Black is pretty common ink. Has a nice, dark. Could probably zoom in on where I'm working. Yeah, we just finished up my last study project. I want to do some more stuff with the figure and character design and expressions and drawing hands and things like that. So, and then I'm using a calligraphy brush. I think it's the C3 one. And so, like, one of the exercises you can do is to take like a form, like a block, and apply it to everything. Oops, that was more of a swoop than I want. I want to keep everything straight lines. Yeah, I found in general, like the students I've had, at least, they don't like. You get the kind of this reputation of the zoomer out there as not being able to handle certain subjects, and I don't know. I found that most people are fine with talking about all kinds of subjects. That doesn't mean everyone agrees with me or I with them, but I think it's just a matter of being diplomatic, and you can talk about just about anything with people, get other people's perspectives. I think is great. So I graduated in 2004 with a bachelor's degree. So I started doing some freelance before I graduated, but I was pretty active at a illustration studio soon after graduating, and then local game studios and things as well. So I think most times I find people want to explore their ideas, and it's like I don't know, there's kind of this weird attitude that that there's this expectation that college students be right about things because supposedly they're in college. So you've got people like there's like this conservative thing where they would go and dunk on college students, have little debates with them and say, hey, look how poorly they're being educated. I'm like, well, they're they're like 20 years old. What do they know? Like, who are you to not educate them? If you think you're right about something. And well, there's still students are largely just still sorting out what's going on. But I was saying, my issue with criticism around Trump is like the things that you really should criticize him for is something that all the other politicians and media outlets are all guilty of, and so they avoid those subjects pretty assiduously. Well, I think a lot of it, really comes down to actually, well, it's being, good at your craft, right? So having like really strong work that communicates to a specific audience. So rather than just random stuff, like I have a bad habit of doing kind of my own thing. Like I rarely do fan art of any kind. So like I don't draw Ninja Turtles and Disney princesses and whatever is going on in news media or entertainment media. It probably would help my outlets a lot to do that. Look at what's popular at the moment, what's trending. That stuff can really help like social media stuff to grow. I just am just got so many things that I actually want to do that I have a hard time doing that. But so that's the first thing, is having really strong work. Step two, and this should be studied at the same time, is marketing. Specifically for artists, especially if you want to be an independent artist, you're not so much looking for employment as much. Something called direct marketing. It's something I've had to kind of study on my own because it's not really taught in school. It's something I'm kind of pushing to get taught in the business classes for artists here, because I think it's always been important, I think, but I think it's especially important in this kind of social media, online era we're all kind of involved in, whether we want to be or not. And so So direct marketing is basically the kind of marketing where the marketing is trying to get you to do something right now. I mean, I like doing the challenges. I just don't do fan art. But yeah, I used to do a ton of the challenges. I should probably do them. Like, I've been doing these on my own. Like, like I just finished sketching out the entirety of Terrell Whitlatch's Science of Creature Design, right? And I've done that for a number of books. But but I think, yeah, direct marketing. Anyway, there's between direct marketing and like brand marketing. So, for example, Coca-Cola does brand marketing. So when they put out that really gross AI ad in December or November, whenever that came out, the point of that was not for someone to immediately pick up the phone or run to the store and buy a Coke. It's there to kind of leave people with an effect of an impression of their brand, right? I don't think it was a very good, marketing exercise in that particular case, but they were willing to pay for it, I guess. And that's brand marketing, and that's a lot of what you do kind of on social media. So like me being here sketching this out, this would be kind of developing my brand per se, right? So the quality of the work I do, the conversations I can have, the things I can instruct people on, it's the impression that I leave people with is brand marketing. But direct marketing is very different, and that's where they're trying to get you to take action. So you've probably seen like the expression like call to action, right? And so basically they present information or an opportunity to you and tell you to click there to order, or give them your email address. And you'll see that from a lot of different artists where like maybe they've got a Kickstarter they're about to launch, and so they'll say, hey, join my Kickstarter email list, and when we launch the Kickstarter, everyone that was on that email list will get this pin or sticker or whatever, right? And that's kind of what direct marketing is. Or it's, as your local grocery store puts an ad in your mailbox or in the newspaper, and it says, if you come in this weekend, bananas are X price, and so only that weekend can I get bananas for this price. And email sequences and a whole bunch of other things. That's all direct marketing, and I think it's pretty easy to understand. Takes practice. Like I'm still figuring it out for myself. I've been doing a ton of reading and practicing. Like I have a teaching website, and I want to encourage people to go over there and subscribe. I think I have a lot of cool projects and information that's really good for people, and stuff I've taught. I like to say it's student tested, because I've actually had students do these projects and seen what it does for them. And so I encourage people to head over to my site to do that. I'm not streaming any sensitive content DLive. I might have to stop streaming at DLive for while I'm working on these figure things. Be more selective, so I'm not getting it from YouTube or Kick or anybody else. I did tell the site to put a mature tag on here just in case, but maybe somebody else is putting it on there for me. But so that's something I think artists should really understand, because it's really very helpful for a lot of things, like finding employment or selling a merch or whatever. So that's definitely a big area that I think artists would do well to understand. It falls outside of kind of the normal conversation. My teaching site, by the way, is myartprofessor.com. It's mostly focused on perspective stuff there. I've got stuff I want to do for a figure class, though. I've got all the videos and things for it. I just need to organize it. I want to redo some of them too, just to um, yeah. So one of the things that, like, we're looking at curriculum changes in our department, and one of the things that I want to do that I think would make a huge difference for students going kind of into any job market or independent artist area is to move the business class from the senior year, which is where it is now. I'm teaching that class actually right now, and see, Socrates is very excited about that. Is to move that business class from the senior year to the junior year. And that way students kind of set up a plan in general for what they want to do. And it doesn't have to be like, this is what will absolutely happen when you graduate, but it's there to kind of get them set up thinking about that. So they do a business card, they set up a website, they get their URL and their email and everything else kind of set up. Maybe create an email list, etc. And that way, when they get into their senior year, they're mostly focused on developing their portfolio and then revising that plan going forward. And I think that would make a huge difference for students. Yeah, if we drill a lot, it'll bring Socrates back to the United States from his living nightmare in Greece. Who wants to live in Athens, right? Just one of the most culturally relevant cities in the Western Hemisphere. But he just wants to take our gerbs. He wants to come here and take all of our gerbs. So I think that would be a huge thing to do. So in terms of direct marketing, there's some people that are worth paying attention to. One of them is Dan Kennedy. He's been in direct marketing for like 40 or 50 years, maybe 60. He's got a ton of books. I think there's one that specifically it's direct marketing for non-direct marketing businesses, which is really just a way of saying everybody should be a direct marketer. That one has a good overview, and he's got a couple books on writing sales letters and putting together marketing plans that I think are really good. He's got one specifically about lead magnets. That you can only get through core stuff, but you can find used copies sometimes. So I have that one. There's what Ryan Levesque is popular, Alan Dibb. There's classic ones like Robert Collier and Gary Halbert. Also the books on persuasion by Michael Cialdini. Funny, his book, I think it's Persuasion, I think is his first one. It's smaller. He wrote it, he said, as a cautionary tale, not to be kind of taken as a marketing manual, but a lot of people have taken it as like a guide to marketing, because there's a book he wrote because he found himself falling victim to marketing tactics. He wanted to know what was going on, so I guess he's easy to kind of manipulate, but it's believed he was one of the people behind the marketing in the Obama campaign, that he may have been brought in on the Hillary Clinton one, because she started changing some of her terminology towards the end of her run for president. That made a difference for her numbers. Lost ultimately, right? But but he's pretty influential in that area. But there's a tons of stuff you can read about it that I think is worth checking out. I'm playing off with blocking off everything here. Yeah, so those are ones I would definitely recommend in terms of studying. There's more than that, but like there's Bill Glazer's Outrageous Advertising, which I haven't read yet. Jeff Walker Launch, which I think is really good for anyone that wants to launch a product or a course or a Kickstarter or something like that. There's a ton of information out there, but the problem is a lot of artists, they tend to treat that side of the business as something to be avoided. And I get it, it's not a lot of fun, right? Like I don't like writing up sales letters or copy for my sites and things. But the thing is, if you do have something that you want to share with other people, that could also make you a living. Not even talking about necessarily getting like super rich or anything, but just make a living. Like you need to know how to communicate that to people, and there's a lot of things that have been perfectly tested to do that. ASMR. If I talk like this, is this more like an ASMR site? Talking real quiet. Or you're just hearing the scratching of the pen on the paper. I can't hear. I've got headphones on, so I can't hear anything. But this paper's a little rougher, so it has like a nice little scratchiness to it. This paper has a little bit of a texture to it, so it's a little rougher, so you can probably definitely hear the scratches and things on it. I live in Richmond, Virginia, and I teach at Virginia Commonwealth University. So it's a big school. They have a big art program here. I'm in the communication arts department. Not sure if I'm on their website yet. I don't think I am, but I know they're working on like a big revamp of that. But I'm there as a tenure track research professor, and then I've taught and lived all over the place, in the United States. So, moved up here from Florida, where I was for 4 years at Ringling College of Art and Design. Just a really good school. I got really sick of the weather down there. It was driving me crazy. So that's where I'm at. It's cold today. It's like 14 degrees out there. That's spots from earlier, but So yeah, it's good. But I've lived all over the place. I was actually flipping through my old sketchbooks last night because I was finally. I've only been here for like a year and a half, but I haven't like hung any pictures on the walls or anything. So I did some of that yesterday, and was flipping through some sketchbooks in the process of that. And it's like, oh yeah, there's these like landscape paintings I did when I lived in Hong Kong and traveled to Japan and all these places I've been. So. Yeah, so I mostly make a living as a teacher at the school. Um, Public schools depends on where you live. I know a lot of people complain about public school pay. I think it depends on where you live and how you're trying to live your life. But it's kind of well established before people go to school that like public school teachers don't make a lot of money, and then they complain when they get into that job that they don't make a lot of money. It was a free pack from Graphit. They make a lot of like reference packs of different things, so I thought I would try this one, see if it would avoid getting in trouble with DLive, because she's actually wearing something. Not a lot, but something. And they still like hit me up in their chat saying, "Hey, by the way, you're violating our standards." I'm like, I didn't know you had standards. I thought you were like a crypto platform or something. But maybe they got new ownership or something. Maybe Gab bought them, or Parler or something like that. Some conservative outlet. So I might not be able to broadcast the streams for the studies on there. Yeah, I guess it just depends on what people want to do. It's like I don't make a ton of money as a teacher, but I also look at my schedule and I've got a lot of time. And part of my gig here is to actually be active professionally. So, let's see. So one of the reasons I forgot to do this yesterday, but I wanted to use. I've got this whiteout stuff on here. So I could do some white accents on here with the deleter ink. Like there's a accent there on the shoulder, right? A highlight right up here. I have not. I mean, the closest thing I had for that was like a Stolichnaya vodka cover I did, but it was it wasn't anything nasty on it. It was just what's it called? It was just a cosmonaut on it. I got hired by Lithuanian company to do that. Stolichnaya, funny, it's like it's famous Russian vodka brand, but it's owned by a Latvian company. That's where the manufacturer was at. Um, like I said, I'm really bad at the whole fan art thing, so I think a lot of the NSFW stuff is, what's the word, Rule 30 something based or whatever. But I have my little project I'm working on, the Bramble project, which um, yeah, I don't know, but that's generally kind of what I understand is out there. But oh, it's been 1 hour. So yeah, so today's actually doing this figure drawing, but trying to keep everything super blocky. Um, um, so let's put the date on here. Today is the 21st, the day after my brother's birthday. Graphic ref. Yeah, I think this particular pack is one they gave away for free. So they'll do that if you're kind of like direct marketing example. Graphic, they put together all these reference packs, right? All kinds of different situations and scenes and people, and once in a while they'll give out a free one, and so it's good to be on their email list so you find out when they release the free stuff. And books for monsters. I know creature design stuff like Tara Whitlatch is really good. And she deals with kind of more realistic anatomy. She's a long-term creature designer. Let me see. Let me look behind me and see what I got here. So there's Terrell. She's got 3 books on creature design, and she kind of does a lot of we call it comparative anatomy. So she'll take Earth anatomy and build it into the creature she designs for film. So she's really good. I do have a Phil Tippett book that I need to open up someday, which I haven't looked at yet. It's not so much an instructional book, it's more like what they've designed, and they've designed a ton of stuff over the years. I'm not sure what other specific books there are on creature design. There's always a skillful huntsman that's got some creature design in it, or monster design. That's always a classic book to read. Is The Skillful Huntsman. I can move this out of the way. Maybe grab that real quick, or grab those. Let's grab you and you. Yeah, I'll just grab these two. So this one's kind of the classic text for is this one. This one you can still get in paperback. Let me back this up a little bit and back you up a little bit. And let's see, which there, turn off that top. No, well, top light. There we go. So it's Skillful Huntsman, and it's put together by Scott Robertson. He's got I think he runs this design studio press company. I should look into that. But he was a teacher at Art Center for a long time. He puts together these books on concept art. These are the people that did the illustrations in here. What I like about this book is that the work in this book is all student work. So you'll see a lot of practices that are pretty common today, like the silhouette thing right here or there. And it kind of came a lot of that came from this book. But in here, they built a whole world around the Skillful Huntsman, which is a grim fairy tale. But one of the sections they go into the giants. And so, there's some silhouettes, there's the giants in here. So these are done by Mike Yamada. You can look up these guys, they're still around, I think. So they've got some thoughts on there on kind of the processes they use for that. So it's not so much like how to draw monsters, it's like this is a general process. They're thinking behind what they're doing in here. I like this guy with the hand coming out of his head. So there's a section here on creatures and monsters and things like that. But the whole book is really good in terms of developing concepts and world building. But it goes through in the concept of locations and the characters and equipment and all that stuff in that book. And then Terrell, she's got 3 books. Actually, I just picked up this one. I've had the 2 of them for a long time, but I keep meaning to pick this one up. So Terrell Whitlatch, her most famous creature design is like I like to say, is Jar Jar Binks. But I just got this one. I finally picked this one. I was like, I've had the other 2 for a long time, but I keep meaning to pick up this one. But she deals a lot with. Let me see if I can stick this under here just so I can get the reflection off of there a little bit. No, that made it worse. But here's a satyr. Yeah, so she's got 3 books. I think she's working on another one, the Moo Monster. But going through, she really understands the skeletal structure, muscular structure of real animals. This book has more fantastic animals, I think, in here. We'll see. I haven't really looked at this one just yet. But there you go. There's a nice little horse drawing. So she really understands, animal anatomy and structure. But her point of the book really is kind of how she takes her understanding and applies that to real things. So, but there's 3 of these books. So this is Creatures Real and Imagined. I have science, and the one I was just doing drawings from was Science of Creature Design. And she kind of goes into animal anatomy in that one and applies it to new designs and things in there. So it's not like deeply instructional, but it has a lot of really good information. I like this crocodile here. It looks very happy. Very reminiscent of Heinrich Clay, who's a nice little fish. So, but she's a good one to look at, I think, for all this stuff. So, like the little baby's hanging off the tummy there. Something nasty there, magrots. So, but she's got 3 books, and I think they're all good. Just all worth checking out. But yeah, well, I'm gonna call it there for today. I've got stuff to do, and yeah, so a lot of good stuff out there to check out these days. But Terrell, she's great. So have a good one. We'll talk to everybody later.